This morning's guest co-created the Green Room. Find out how it's making a difference at Coastal Carolina University. Coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at Architectural Surfaces on Cannon Road off of Highway 501 in Myrtle Beach. We're focused on the Computer Science Department at Coastal Carolina University, and we're visiting with its acting chair, Dr. Steve Sheel. Good morning, Dr. Sheel. Thanks so much for coming in.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here.
Do you mind if we call you Steve?
Steve would be fine.
How exciting. A lot going on out of the Computer Science Department recently.
Definitely. We've really grown over the number of years, and there's a lot of exciting things going on with our students and faculty.
Absolutely. During your tenure here at Coastal Carolina, how long have you been at Coastal Carolina University?
Well, I arrived with Hurricane Hugo, and I guess up in 1989.
Right.
And I've been there for ever since.
Almost 20 years.
Yeah, so it's been exciting. You know, we have a really nice computer science department and good faculty, good students.
And when you arrived, was the location for the classes and where your offices were the same as they are now?
No, we've moved about 2 times. We originally were in Kearns Hall, where education is now.
Right.
Then we were over in the Wall building with School of Business, and now we're across the highway in a building across from the Atlantic Center.
Yes, a perfect location.
Yeah, it's great facilities.
Is that exclusively now computer science that are in that one building?
Well, for our first year, we had it to ourselves, but now we've been joined by the departments of marine science and psychology and sociology.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. So that much is happening out there.
Yeah, so there's a synergy going on the other side of the highway across, from the main campus.
Sure, of course. Probably a lot of folks don't even know about that. Y'all may be hidden back there. That's right.
That's both its pluses and minuses. Being hidden back there.
Are you originally from the area?
No, we've been here about 18 years. I was originally born in Iowa, but lived most of my life in Arlington, Virginia.
Okay, sure.
Northern Virginia.
Absolutely. And had you thought about going into computer science at an early age, Steve?
I had an interest in computers, but primarily I initially went into mathematics. And I got my doctorate from the University of Oklahoma, and I started teaching, and my first teaching job ended up in a missionary college over in Beirut, Lebanon.
Is that right, in Lebanon? Your first full-time teaching position?
That's correct.
Amazing. What was that like?
Well, it was kind of exciting. It was just when the Lebanese war broke out, and at night we used to be able to watch the battle for the city of Beirut from our porch of our house, and it was some trying times. I remember on one occasion I was asked to give blood, and an army came up of Lebanese soldiers. They put a machine gun into my stomach and asked me if I would like to donate blood, and I said yes, I would love to.
Oh my God!
But so we were in the thick of the fighting, but we managed to survive, and after about 7 months there, we were evacuated to the island of Cyprus. Mm-hmm. And in the island of Cyprus, we ended up between no man's land, actually what's called the Green Zone, between the Turks and the Greeks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you had family with you over there during that time, Steve?
At the time, I had my wife and 2 daughters, and my 3rd daughter was actually born on the island of Cyprus.
Is that right?
And then when we were given the opportunity to take a position in Uganda, and at that point I said, hey, maybe I was ABD, hadn't finished my doctorate, and I said, well, let me go back and write my dissertation and come back to the States. It's a little bit safer.
Did you ever go back to Uganda, or
no? We stayed out.
You stayed mainland, and you stayed here.
Right.
Since then, how exciting though to start your teaching profession. So you figured out, even during your tenure with mathematics, that you wanted to become a professor?
Yeah, I was teaching at one point in Georgia, and the person teaching computer science was a chemist, and they had left for a position in Texas, and they asked for a volunteer to teach computer science. In addition, I was teaching math, and I had taught myself Fortran and some other early programming languages. and I enjoyed it so much, I said, hey, I like this better than mathematics. And
Right.
I looked for the opportunity to, to get a master's degree in computer science.
Must be thrilling these days to have both students who really have a good sense of computers when they get into the classroom, as well as probably exciting for first-timers. Do you have students who want to take intro classes that have just not experienced computers much?
Yes, we have, students come to us with varied skills. Some of them, come to us with where they, had the practice programming. Others, basically just turned the computer on. But
Right.
the introductory courses are aimed at taking the students where they are and giving them the skills. So after about a 4-course sequence, they're fairly good programmers, and they can survive in the major. And typically, if they can make it through the first 4 courses in the sequence, then the program actually gets a little bit easier.
Really? Yeah, yeah. They're probably learning a heck of a lot. What are some of the basic things for our viewers here on a Friday morning that students will be learning in that first, is there a computer 101 or just an early intro class?
Yeah, in the early course we aim at primarily 2 things. Giving them skills so that they can become problem solvers in analyzing programs, so that they know how to go about writing it, and then of course we start introducing them to teaching a language. And currently we're using the Java language, and the programs all around the country are more web-centric because of the impact of the web
Right.
on our daily lives. When I first got here, we were teaching in the language Pascal, and I've seen it go from Pascal to C to C++, and now Java, and I dare say 4 years from now we'll be talking about another language.
Yeah. Do you have you thought about it? Nostradamus there, a crystal ball? Any idea what kind of language you could potentially be talking about in 4 years?
It could be the
We're
language.
going to get you on camera right now on a Friday morning. That's right.
It could be the language C# or a couple other languages,
An entirely new language.
But the thing is that one about computer science is that change is just endemic to the program, and you can't sit still in this program, and so therefore the professors and the students, what we learn 1 year will be out of date 2 years later.
Right.
Because computers are so pervasive in society that everywhere you go you have to deal with computers.
Amazing, Steve. I think you mentioned before we started filming, you and your wife were blessed with a 4th child who happened to be a daughter as well. Have any of your 4 girls gotten involved in computer science, or have you given them the bug, gotten them interested?
I did my best, but I think their mother won out. My wife, Rita, she has a bachelor's degree in psychology, and apparently that affected most of my daughters, because 2 of them have gone to Coastal and pursued degrees in psychology. The 3rd one pursued a degree from Coastal in sociology, and our baby, Kimberly, now is a sophomore student at Southern Adventist University in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Right, right. And she's thinking about either sociology or psychology, but something entirely different than...
Well, she's actually going to nursing. So.
Is that right? Okay. Again, different than computer science. That's fascinating. When you think about, obviously, the impact you can have on students at the same time in the household, and how it passing on things, it's always fascinating. When you're working with lots of kids, how that transcends to your daily life.
Indeed. 4 daughters has a real blessing.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't trade in any one of them.
Could you ever imagine even having a son now, having raised 4 daughters?
I wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah, yeah. How exciting, Steve. When we think about some of the things that majors are learning these days, you talk about a little bit there what first-year students, what are some of as they progress and they've made a determination to not only major computer science, what are most of your students thinking about doing after graduation?
Well, at Coastal we have 2 options for the majors. We have the theoretical option, which is kind of a blend of computer science with the math and the sciences, and it's in this kind of option, people are looking for jobs as maybe hardcore programmers, research scientists in computer science. There's the area of robotics, artificial intelligence, bioinformatics, which basically deals with writing the the code that data mines the human genome and other DNA sequences. So there's a lot of exciting things going on there. I mean, it's been predicted that within the next 4 or 5 years, computers would become self-aware. Now that's going to be some exciting times when your computer knows that it exists. Now our other option is the information systems option, and of course this is a blend of computer science with a lot of business applications.
Right, sure.
And obviously, with the advent of the web, there's just tremendous opportunities there as well. So between the two areas, there's a job waiting for people, and that's one nice thing about computer science. And even though there's been some outsourcing of some of the nuts and bolts jobs overseas, there's still a lot of opportunity for our majors to find positions. And
here in the U.S.
Yeah, and they rarely have a difficulty finding a job.
That's tremendous. Of course, a lot of your students recently have been doing some great summer intern programs, as well as leaving for a little time and then coming back to Coastal. You've got some examples recently of going off to some major companies.
Yes, when I got here, I wanted to make sure that we had an active co-op or intern program. So we added the courses to our curriculum, and then we've looked for intern position possibilities both within the community and outside. And recently we've had some major intern opportunities for our students with City Corporation, and our students have been taking time off from their studies to work in computer science in the field in Miami and New Jersey, New York. So they're having some very good opportunities. And it gives them that experience, and so when they go out and seek the job, they have real life experience,
right,
besides just the education.
Critical, very important. I think over your 18-year tenure here, you served 9 years as chairman. I opened up with you saying you're acting chair. Is there currently a chairman not around, or?
Yeah, one of my after we achieved our what we call ABET accreditation. This is something we had been planning on, and we worked to achieve. And at that conclusion of that accreditation, I thought, well, I've been chair for about 9 years, and I looked for an opportunity to maybe engage a little bit more in research.
Right.
So I hired my replacement, and Dr. Jean-Louis Lassay, and he is best be described as a world-class computer scientist. And
is that right?
And Coastal is very fortunate to have a man of his caliber. And he had been, for example, he has interviewed at places like the University of Chicago and Stanford, and so he could go just about any major university in the world, but he has selected our community. But anyway, he likes to engage in research, particularly in the summer times. And so basically, I ended up taking over his chair in the summers.
In the summer, sure.
And then when he gets back in the fall, I step back as a professor of computer science.
Something you've done enough that you're comfortable in that role. And of course, as the chair, for Jean-Louis during the school year, or what you've done over the 9-year period as the full-time chair, you're pretty dang active there. I mean, that requires a good bit of responsibility.
Definitely. Being the chair of a department at Coastal, is almost a full-time job now. But it's very rewarding, and it's exciting because you get to take part in the growth of the program, and just direct the program and make it improve upon it. That's our goal.
You mentioned ABET accreditation. What does ABET stand for? What's the significance of accreditation for the department at Coastal, and when you got it during your tenure as chairman formally?
Yeah. Well, ABET accreditation is the Accreditation Board for Engineering and Technology.
Okay.
And they, a number of years ago, Computer Science Accreditation Board came under their jurisdiction. The two joined together. And so they don't accredit departments, but they do accredit programs.